latest one in the saga of the Range Rover prepping for Norway is I've had a suspension failure. So I kind of knew this was coming. The compressor needs an overhaul. So it was very, very slow to lift. And I don't think it was maintaining pressure either. So I think I might have a leak somewhere, which I'll have to check once I've done this first. But I need to rule this out first. So I've bought a kit on eBay. I bought a quite decent one, which has like an aluminium housing as well for the dryer. So it was like 60 quid, but I think it's worth, I'd rather do it once. So it's out the car. That is pretty self-explanatory, to be fair. If you're not going to do without with a gap tool, be careful, because obviously there's still pressure held in the system. However, you should be okay even without deflating. Once you've taken off the air lines from this side and disconnected the plugs, there's literally 4 8mm bolts, and then the compressor comes off. So that's what I've got in the garage.
Is that one?
That's one of them. Yeah. So I will film it going back in, but I didn't film taking it out, mainly because it's too dark outside, to be honest. So
and it looks like it's going to tip it down.
It does look like it's going to tip it down again. So what we need to do now is start stripping it down. I think that's still 8mm. Yep. So we need to start getting it ready for when the kit turns up. So in the kit we get new desiccant that goes in the dryer. So I'm going to want to take this out, which I know isn't a particularly easy thing to do. You get this kind of corrosion, which I can already see in there, which I'll kind of show you in a moment. Yeah. But that's not an easy thing to take out now. So I'd rather get going with that now, give that a clean up. So when it turns up, I'm ready just to put it all back together again, which will probably be in the same video that you're watching there. Oops. So there's just this one bracket on the top with an 8mm bolt. I need to tidy up really. That is on a little connector. Actually, I might leave it on actually, to be fair. How is this? Around
see, that's welded onto that, so you got to undo it.
Yeah, that is welded onto that. So this guy comes off from the underside then. So hang on, underneath. There's nothing holding it on underneath. Oh, okay, I remember now. So I have seen another video, and there are these really annoying washers. These are a bit like the exhaust ones that I've got.
Oh, they're bent onto it, aren't they?
Yeah, so they're like the exhaust stud ones. So what I'll do is I'm going to grip hold of them and then unwind the bolts off it. Hopefully we should get away with that. So if I so that wasn't too difficult actually. So just persuade them with a hammer, and they pop through. And then what I'll do, I'll just hammer these flat so they become useful again. We'll do that later. So there are 2 bolts, one at the top and then one at the bottom, and then the compressor will actually slide out, or the motor itself will actually slide out. So I did get a bolt. There we go. Let's keep all those together.
Oh yeah, we're at 200 subscribers now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for 200 subscribers. Yay.
Okay. So I've now got that off. So the actual... Oh, there's another one there as well, I think. There is.
Oh, God.
I see you hiding there.
So many bolts. Does that one have a little thing on the bottom of it?
No.
Right.
Okay. That should be... It is. Right, so that is all of the things. So that is connected to the compressor. So we are going to want to take that off. So I'm going to gently persuade that off of there, like thus. That's off. Everything else is off, so we should be able to pull this out now.
What's that? It looks like a fab.
Off the frame. Hang on. It's actually a filter.
That's a filter.
Yeah, so hang on, let's get this one off.
Ooh, what's on it?
Like that. This one's got a little hose clip, you need to push that in. There, like that. And then the hose should come out.
With a little bit of what you call persuasion.
Yes. so it does come off. So right, everything is connected now, and this should come off. You definitely need the screwdriver to hit the floor.
Yeah, that's part of the ritual,
And
guys.
there we go. Right, so I will give that a clean up as well. I'm not entirely sure what they are.
Are they not
They're
like
filters,
little
I think.
compressors?
They're or filters.
Oh, they look like pressurized things.
So it doesn't come with any water in this, which is good. It's a good start.
Good start.
So what we need to be doing, this is the bit that causes the headache. So I am aware of this. So I'm gonna have a pointy thing. Let's have a pointy. This will be a good little pointy thing.
Good little
So
pointy
basically, this is the little dryer unit, and it holds a desiccant to basically dry the air as it goes through to absorb any moisture. So this sometimes develops a crack. Although this one actually looks okay, the kit I've bought comes with a new lid, a new gasket and all that kind of stuff. So we'll strip this down in a moment. But for the time being, we need to get it removed. And it's literally a bayonet fit.
What's that?
So a bayonet fit is like a light bulb where you push it in and turn it.
All right.
Yeah? So to undo it, you push it in slightly, turn it to the left, and you let it come out.
Oh, like the jet wash?
Yes, a bit like the car shoe, yeah. So as you can see here, this is the actual bit here. But as you can see, all this is all corrosion. It's aluminium corrosion. And what it does, it makes this fitting very tight. So what I need to do is, before I go yanking around with it, is to remove this other line, because I don't want to break it.
Yeah.
So I'll get that one out before I do anything else, because otherwise we're going to be a whole world of pain.
It looks like lime scale, kind of.
There's not a lot of room here, actually. I wonder if I can get that one out instead. It's difficult to try and put that in at the same time as trying to put. So that is now off, which is fine. It's in okay condition. I'm going to clean all of this up anyway. So I've left that attached to the dryer, so it will need to come off, but it's going to be easier and I won't break it. So the dryer itself, the canister itself, has got a Phillips screw, just holding it in.
That's the star one, isn't it?
It is the star one. Like that.
Yep.
So that is now not attached to it. Right, so now we can turn this like that.
This is still very stiff.
It's not stiff, but it gets stuck. It won't come off, I don't think.
Got mind your elbow, I was going to get...
Like that. So it does eventually come off. There we go. Right.
Yay, finally.
So all this white stuff shouldn't be there. This is all corrosion. All corrosion, it's all the desiccant as well. It breaks down, it's like ceramic, turns into a dust. But that seal is still there, but either way.
It's like metal lime scale, it's gross.
Pretty nasty. So I am going to carry on stripping this down and we'll address this stuff afterwards. But the fact is, there's a lot of this white dust everywhere. So hopefully this pump isn't too far gone. Right, let's put that there for the minute. Okay. So now I need some Torx bits. Oh, like that. That. Next.
You like 5 minutes crafts.
I think it's like T30, I think this one. T27. Nah.
Nah,
T30.
bruv.
Yep, T30. Hopefully I can do this with a screwdriver. Yep, I can. Okay, so they're off. Now ideally in this, what you'd find is like an end plate, filter, ceramic balls, filter, end plate. You shouldn't see any white powder. So,
If there's white powder, do we have to bin it?
no, if there's white powder, you'd need to replace this stuff. This is a non-serviceable part, apparently.
Oh, I think there's going to be white powder. Oh, so we won't be... So we'd have to... What?
It's not supposed to be serviceable at this point, yeah. What if I need to get that out? I don't think so.
And we're servicing it right now.
We are.
Ooh, we're baddies. We're like... the rules are made to be broken, am I right, Dad?
We are.
I think there's going to be white stuff in it.
we go. So, there's water in it, which isn't good.
Oh.
So we've got the spring.
Yes.
That's fine. So we'll clean all this out.
Yeah.
So we've got that, the spring. No, it's just water.
Is there white stuff in it?
Yep.
Yes. Right, so there's water and white stuff in it, so it's going to be doubly
Right,
service.
so I need to do this on a surface, but I don't mind getting dirty.
How about we flip that floor now?
Right.
Oh my
There we
god.
go. So,
Is that orange?
look at that. That's
is that
awful.
Is that orange salt good or bad?
So this shouldn't be like this. So these should all be separate little balls like this.
Like these.
Yes, they are, yeah. But unfortunately, it's turned to dust. So that's what clogged up the compressor the last time.
Is that what happened to the front wheel then? Is this the compressor for the suspension?
This is the compressor for the suspension, yeah.
So that's why it went all down in the middle of town.
So in here, yeah.
Did you tell them about that? I forgot.
I haven't yet, no.
Oh.
So we need to get this off. And this is just a cotton filter. Just need a bit of a clean up, that's all. There's actually nothing wrong with that. It's probably a bit wet, so I might dry that out on a radiator.
Yeah.
Put that up there. There's another one in here. But what I'm going to do at the moment is bring my bin over.
And whilst Dad does that, I'll explain to you what happened to him in the middle of town. Right, so, because of all this, Dad's suspension was faulty, and it went down, so it was scraping the wheel arches. The wheels were scraping the wheel arches. So Dad came like straight home, didn't you, Dad?
Yeah.
Because that's not good.
That.
Not our Halford's advanced Spanish thing set.
Here's the other one.
Ooh, is that meant to be rusty?
No, it's not supposed to be rusty.
That's because of the water, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is this salt or is it just balls?
It's not salt. No, it will dissolve if it's salt. There's ceramic beads. But that's not a very good looking one at all.
Gonna need a new one of those, aren't we?
Well, you won't be able to buy new ones of these.
Oh.
So what I might do is
Make another
we'll
one.
find something else. Yeah, because the thing doesn't come with any one of these things. The service kit doesn't come with one. So this is going to go into the wash bin. So we'll give it a good old clean up, and that'll be ready for the next load. This, I'm going to see whether it's actually
Just surface rust,
Well,
hopefully.
What I'm worried is that that's completely blocked, and this is what's half the problem, is that the compressor's having to work really hard to basically get any air through, because
Oh, saw the dust come up there. That's not good. Is it blocked?
no, that's not blocked, so that's going to go in the wire brush, and that I'm going to see if I can just clean it.
Ooh.
So that will go.
Ooh, did you see that, guys? That was mank.
So that's that, and that's that. Right.
And
Back
that
up to the
is
desk.
that.
Oh, sorry, that away in a moment.
Alright.
I'm not sure what comes in the kit, so I'm going to leave this. I'm just going to wash everything for the moment. But these are all okay.
In the wash disher.
Yes. But I'm going to wash those and put them on the radiator. They should be okay, I
What's
think.
this?
And that one, you see, isn't attached.
Oh.
But it has a filter inside there. So again, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to wash these. There's a thicker one.
Is that what the foam is meant to look like?
Yeah, and it looks like that.
Hold on, let's get a zoom in on that. That is mad.
So I'm going to give these all a wash. Not that one though. I'm just going to wire brush that one. And
Is that the little toothbrush thing that you have with wires on it?
something like that, yeah. So that one will go in there. That one needs to be washed. That needs to be washed. That just needs a bit of a wire brush. So I'm going to wire brush that. Okay.
We need to sort this bench out, don't we?
Yes, next thing is it's the actual compressor. So what I have already repaired once is this little. So this is that's actually a filter. So it's an exhaust filter, but it's actually a bolt.
A bolt?
It's got like a thread on it.
Oh yeah, I see
But,
that.
yeah.
That's why I have glasses.
I do not have mine on at the moment, can you tell?
Yeah, do you want me to get your reading ones?
Right, so that was full of that white powder the last time I took that off.
Is that better now
And it's
then?
not now. So I'm going to wash that as well, actually. That goes into the wash pile.
Wash pile.
So, what's left? So, what do we have? We have... all these components are fine. That is fine. That is a push-down one. That is okay. All the electrics look fine. So the next thing is the actual pump itself. And that is this piece here. So there's a little piston in here that goes up and down and creates the pressure basically into the unit itself. So what I want to do is I'm going to dismantle this completely like that. It's going to go here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip that down and make sure there's not going to get rid of all this crud off the side. So that is off. And then what we've got here is a tiny little piston.
Tiny, 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 like Arlo. He's tiny, tiny, tiny.
I've got, what have I got there? There's another airline there. That's just a breather. That's just a breather, that's fine. So I should be able to take that off like that. There we go. And this is the little piston inside. So I'm going to drop them out like that. That's what it looks like. And then in here we've got the actual piston. So you can see there, look. And that is actually
pretty good condition.
not too bad, that. So what we need to do is when the kit turns up is this comes off. I'm not going to do it just yet because I don't want any bits to fall off the piston as well, but we need to change the piston ring. It's like a plastic piston ring, which is absurd, but either way it's plastic.
Why is it absurd?
Because it's plastic.
Oh, not rubber.
Well, because it's not metal or something, but either way. But inside here there's no scoring and it looks okay, so that's all right. So what we're going to do, whenever that's just a thermostat there, I can't disconnect that annoyingly, and I can't disconnect that either. So I'm not going to do much with that. I am going to get a little wire brush and just try and clean that lot up as much as I can. So that is okay. But yeah, I'm tempted to take that off anyway. I want to know what it's like. Yeah, let's do it. Right, so this comes off. There we go. And this is the little piston ring on the top here.
Are you gonna get like you should get a metal one for it instead?
You can't, believe it or not. No.
Probably make one, to be honest.
Yeah.
You are dad, of course, so you can make anything.
And there's the little piston ring like that. So that is the bit you take off. You pull that apart and take it off. So yeah, you can see it's quite badly scored up the sides. Look, it's all worn away, and that is what's causing it to. So that's what it should be like.
Yeah, I'm doing
And it's all scored. Look.
Yeah, I see it.
So it's working really hard. It's trying to push through air through that dryer unit, which it clearly isn't doing. So it's creating tons and tons of heat, overheating, and this is worn away as well. So it's not compressing very much, and it's working doubly hard. So it's definitely time for an overhaul.
What's that?
An overhaul? Refurb.
Oh, okay.
Definitely time for an overhaul. So I'm not going to take these off yet because I want to make sure I get them the right way around. If they have an orientation at all, I'm not sure. But yeah, so far there's nothing there that I'm surprised at. There's no play in the, well, essentially the con rod, the connecting rod. The motor seems pretty good as well, so that's all right. So I'm going to give it a good old clean up. I wonder if there's something on the end. Do we have to do the end as well? I can't remember. That's a funny thing. Right, we've got our rebuild kit for the compressor through today. Or yesterday, but I wasn't here. So I'm going to start looking at what we need to do and what we get. I've watched a couple of videos on this already. Oops. And it looks quite straightforward, to be fair. So there's a whole lot of instructions which are definitely worth reading, which I will do after I've finished. Let's have a look at what we've got. So, the first most noticeable thing is an upgrade to the dryer cap, which is good. Although my dryer cap didn't actually look that bad, apparently it's quite susceptible to cracking. So we've got a new dryer dryer cap. It's nice. So I'll have a new seal around there. Okay. And what else did we get? Filters galore. Lovely. Okay, so let's look at these filters. We've got various filters here. So we've got, this is the main one. Don't think it goes around there, but we'll work this out in a moment. Imagine that is for around there. Then we've got this filter here, which I believe goes in something along those lines. And then the caps that sit around either side. So I'll try and find. So these and that. Hang on. So this one will become this one with this around it, like that. Not the tightest of things, but that will go like that. And then we need to drill this off, this little rivet off, and then pop that onto here with this little nut and bolt. And then these two old filters, oh, it might actually be a, yeah. And then this one, which went onto here, that will need to go on there like that. And that gets pushed down into the canister, then the desiccant, and then we have, there's another filter, and then that with the new parts will go into there. So it's quite straightforward, which is quite good. Nice parts, good quality, I have to admit, it is good quality. And then in here we've got various bits and pieces. There's a desiccant, 150 grams of it. And then in here, we'll find out what that weighs for in a moment. In here we've got slide ring, cap. So that's the bit that actually wears away on the little piston. Various O-rings. I love when they do that. A little bit of sandpaper, because we're going to need that in certain areas. I have already cleaned up most of it, but and then we've got these things. So we've got new cap. Wow. Okay. So if you damage that, take it off with a screwdriver, which I'll show you in a bit, you get a new cap as well. That's really good. We've got a locking tool for the piston. So this basically, you pull the piston up, you lock this into place, and then you can undo the piston. It's like a crank lock, or a cam lock, sorry. And then we've got a piece of plastic. I'm not quite sure what that's for just yet, but that is it. So it's not a huge kit, so it shouldn't be too overwhelming. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with rebuilding this lot up. So I'm going to drill that out and get the hole big enough for little M4, M3 maybe, something like that, little nut, tiny little nut, and then we'll get that through there. Okay, so let's get. Actually, need to make a hole in this, which is a bit annoying, but we'll do that in a second. It does create a somewhat bigger sandwich actually, because it's quite a big. By comparison to that, it is quite big, but that's fine. Obviously, it's there for a reason. So, I'm wondering whether I can drill that through there. Oops. Pop that through. There we go. Okay. So in the dryer, which I scrubbed clean, checked for cracks, there's nothing I can see, which is all good. We have, which order it goes in, which bloody order it goes in there. So I was thinking of painting that. So I use that neutral rust on it to get rid of most of it, but I think that should be okay. So as we can see, it's cleaned up a bit better. So we need to get that on there, like that. So it's in there. We put one filter in. I find these filter pads are actually slightly bigger than they were before, so it should stop that escaping. Then we need to get the filter. We need to get the desiccant in, then that on top, and then this on top after that. Then the spring goes on and so on and so forth. So let's get this open. Like that. As you can see, it's all ceramic balls, essentially. So let's get that filter on the top. And this goes on after. Like that. Pretty good in there actually. Then we've got a spring, goes on that, and then the cap on top of that. It does seem very full actually. I'm not quite sure how full that was supposed to be, but I'm assuming that was the right amount that came with the packet. Just double check that. Okay, so just checked my video, and that's way fuller than it was beforehand. So I'm going to need to adjust that. Now I don't want to take too much out because it might have been low because it degraded over time. So I'll put it down to about maybe about an inch or so below the line of this. That. And that goes on top. Okay, I'm happy with that. So next is get the cap on. I've already put the new O-ring around the top, so this should fit reasonably snugly. And okie dokie, so just to make sure, so we've got this little hole here is different to this one. So what it is the equivalent of this little hose connector, so popped into there. So it'll go through there, so it's a kind of better connection. So that's the way it only goes. So you've got the larger fitting here, the smaller fitting here, larger, smaller, and it goes in line with the connection at the top. So this is the fixing at the top, and you can see that. So that's like a 12 o'clock. These are 9 and 3, and then this is in the lower left area. So that's what we're going to do. So let's get the spring in. We're going to put that on to there like that. Like that. Okay. That's quite straightforward. remember that you're screwing into plastic, so you don't need to do them silly tight. There we go. So we're in good shape there. I've cleaned out in there already. So that dryer is ready to go. Get rid of the parts I do not want. I don't know what I do with the other. So the next thing is, bring this out of the way for the moment. That's what that would be going to actually. So let's get that one out for the moment. Let's get it in my little pick. Don't be tempted to scratch things with screwdrivers and stuff. Very easy to get carried away with this. When you stop seeing powder come off, stop doing it. There we go. So that's in pretty good shape now. So new ring on. There we go. Old O-ring down there. Get the two old ones. Okay, so next thing I want to do is the piston. So what I found with the piston, I'm calling it a piston, it's essentially a piston, is I thought we'd be able to do it all in situ, but actually, because you're having to walk this thing up and lever it all off, they actually remove this, which still didn't seem particularly as much of a point, because what you can do, let me just take this off, you can take the slide ring off for a start. It's your old slide ring. To get this off, you have to cut that off and then you lever that lid up. So I'll show you that piece I had earlier. I'm really messy. This piece here is a replacement for that top piece that goes there. So the little this thing sits into that like that, and that becomes that. So they take this out. It just seems a bit odd to me. I'm not entirely sure why you really need to take it out. I think if you can get it into the right place like that, I don't really see a need to undo this, because there's no O-rings or anything gets changed in there at all. So literally we just cut this off and put the new one on. So for the moment, I'm not going to take this off, because there was no sign that that was leaking. Nor is that a pressurized part, I believe. So I'm going to leave that for the time being. Might end up regretting that, but we'll see. So for the time being, I'm just going to cut this off. We should be able to cut off with a sharp knife. It is actually, it's like I'm not entirely sure what material it actually is. It's almost like a rubber. It's a weird fabric material, sorry. But yeah, unusual one. And there's your new glide ring. So that's all good. So I'll leave it in there for the time being. There's also this part here. Which is another little part. So I'm assuming that's all tools just to help you get the stuff off. So I'm going to try and cut that off now, just with a Stanley, and see if we can walk that metal piece off the top. What I'm going to try and do is try and lift that up a little bit there, because I've got a bit of an angle there. There we go. And there we go, there's the old one off. So now we've got to try and get this up, because the new, wish it wasn't so messy, sure you can see it. this one needs to go on and needs to go over the top like that. So we've got to get that one off to do that. So let's try and get that one off. I might get a bit of heat on that, like I said. But it is coming. Doesn't want to come off, I have to admit. And there's an easy way of doing it. Cautious not to actually damage the actual piston itself, which is very easy to do considering it is just a piece of aluminium. So I wonder if I can get like a little puller on that. I don't want to damage the bearing inside that, so I am going to remove this. There we go. So put that back in there. So then we'll clean that off after. Get this thing off with a T something or other. That T30 as well? No, that's not as much smaller. 25. So we get the locking mechanism in place. Again. Like that. That in place. Because you're winding it to the left, you want this down to the left. And you should be able to. There we go. Let's take these tools out. Like that. Like that. We now got the world's smallest piston. Here we go. So, bit of a hash job. Now I need to get that piece on. Like that. You can see like the metal rim of there, which I broke off slightly. Which I might just file down quickly, do you know? That new on, and then somehow this goes on. Now that I am going to heat up and pop on. So let's do that. It needs to be slightly different. Not too difficult. That's on nice and tight. That hasn't any movement. Slip collar's fine. This can go back in. Like that. Okay. These things are now dealt with. Okay, so what we need to do is just tidy off the seal off this, put some new stuff on. So I might actually use some heat resistant stuff actually. So I'm going to clean that off first, whack a bit of bead round and pop that back on. Okay. Okie dokie. So the important bit is now done. with that. Let's just hate this black stuff, so let's get rid of this. This one there is a little gasket for, not gasket, O-ring, sorry. Going to dig that one out. I would imagine it is, there's two there. There's a nitrile one and like a rubber one, so a red one and a different one there. So, and they are very similar. So I'm going to go with I think and that is squashed pretty flat, that is. So I'm going to go with the black one on there. Doesn't fit particularly well, so let's look at the red one. Red one fits the same, so I'm going to go with the black one. He's on there. And there is that one, I believe, goes in the bottom there as well, I'm not sure. Yeah, there is that. Pop that down into place. You'd be forgiven for forgetting that one because you could barely see that there was even one there. This goes down over that direction. There we go. That is a tight fit. So it definitely was not like that beforehand. So don't think it particularly matters which way around you do these. Although I think there's more space that way around like that. And there we go. It sits like that. That is definitely a tighter fit, that is. So that's definitely be pushing more air. So then the O-ring goes back on. Still getting, that's where this goes. And you can see the O-ring sits in there quite nicely. You can also see that there's actually a shape of where this was. So it goes like that, or like that. I'm guessing that doesn't really make a difference. So I'm going to give that a clean up. Sitting well. There we go. So we know all the gaskets are in, the rubber seals in, and it's sitting flat. So let's get those on. Okay, happy with that. Let's get that little tube on, like that, and onto there. Okay. So that there is done and on. There's no movement there, nice and tight. Whew. Okay, let's just have a bit of a tidy up so I know where this goes on here. With two springs. There isn't a new seal for that. I'm quite surprised about it, actually. But I'm not quite sure where these two little seals go. So I need to have a bit of investigation. It doesn't go on this dryer. These are all new. That's already got a new seal, goes on there. In fact, I can get that dryer back on now. So let's do that. Okay, right. So the dryer's on. Okay, what we're left with? We're left with this here, which has various stuff. This has been cleaned out now, actually, that can go back on as well. I'll tighten that up in a moment. Okay, so what are these little ones going to be for? Nothing in there. Airline hose. This dryer hose, this now goes through. A little bit chewed up, but certainly not usable. So this goes down into here. Assume it gets knocked on the side. That line's in. Still don't know what that's for. Let's get these on. That goes in there, that goes on top. This needs a bit of force actually, this is quite a strong one. 1, 2, 3. He's tight in there, he's tight in there. That one's tight as well. That's tight. That's tight. Okay, they're all done. That is a 16 mil. Oops. As far as I can tell, that is everything that we need to do. So, next is to fit it into this jobby. And this is quite straightforward because we know that this goes towards the rear. So before the compressor goes back in, which is all ready to go now, I also bought an O-ring kit for all the other valve blocks, which I'll do the front ones, and the front one and the rear one at a later date. But this is the pressure switch valve solenoid in the boot, and it's quite an easy one to get to because obviously it's already off the compressor. So I'm going to have a quick look round now and see whether I can get this one off and replace the O-rings on it. So we got this off, pretty straightforward. I'd already decompressed it using the gap tool anyway. And it's all nicely labelled as to how it works. You get a diagram as to how to do things as well. Put it in the right position like this. Main electrical connector here. Pressure switch here, black pipe, yeah, so that is the orientation we're looking at with these. Bags are labelled up brilliantly. Valve block solenoid pressure switch, so we're going to open up that one, pop that one to one side. We also get a little bag of silicone grease as well, and we need to put these in. So we get, there's the picture, and then there's a list that says here of all different ones. So I'm going to take this off. 8. Okay. So they're all right. So with that in hand, right way around still, yep. We then look at changing the connections. Okay, so turn my torch off. This lifts off. Okie dokie. So in here, nothing serviceable. This is just the actual part itself. So those bits can go to one side. That is absolutely fine as it is. There's nothing. There we go. In here, you've got various little things. So we've got this number 1, which goes on the top, which we'll do last, I think. And then we've got right at the bottom, we've got a little 4. In here we've got this little twist off cap, which I believe it twists off. And inside there is a 4, 6, which I can't see. I can see the 6, it's here. 6. And then a 1. Okay, so we don't need to take any of this apart. So in the main solenoids, I think there are some bits you need to take apart, but this actually is quite straightforward. So that can come off, that's old. One there. We'll take the number 4 off. That can go there. And then we'll take the 6 off, which is there. Super, super simple. 6. There we go. So that is the actual pressure switch. There's a little valve solenoid itself, sorry. So that is all you need to do. He goes onto there. Like that. And then we're left with various others. So we're left with a 2 and some 8s. So the 2 I think it goes here. Okay. Then we need to change. We'll do the black pipe is in here, so we'll change that one out. No. Okay. That's 6. I cannot. At 2, sorry, I can't work out where that goes. And that's what it's for. So it's actually for the pressure switch itself. So this is that 2. Okie dokie. So I forgot that rear on that base plate and rear of the car, not rear of the wheel well. So I put it in the wrong way around. That's sorted now. Right, let's get the fuel line out of the way. Just hang that for a minute. Okay, that's that now. We've got some thingy-bobs here, so let's get, where are we going to do first? The cable's after, I think. Let's get this back on. Let's just poke through little holes and back into their slots. Like that. Okay, that's on, that's on. I have to look back on that and see where that actually goes in, but that should be fine. Right, now before I do anything else, I am going to test to see whether it works. So as you can see, this is the gap tool. The compressor started out absolutely fine. And was definitely pushing more pressure quicker. However, logging into the gap tool, you can see that the pressure was still not great. So this 88 degrees, it got up to a certain temperature. It had stopped, after a certain amount of time, and now you can see that this the pressure in the actual gallery was reducing. So that's the compressor coming back on again. So the temperature starts going up, which is absolutely fine. But the pressure is just not doing anything. So there's still definitely a leak. So I had a quick look around the car to see what I could find, and sadly, I found it. Sadly, it is the front left bag. So it was a success and a failure. Compressor is absolutely fine. I did put a bit of fairy liquid and water around by the compressor and the solenoid at the back, and that's all absolutely fine. It is definitely working more efficiently, so I'm quite happy that I've done the rebuild. But now I've got to get the airbags done, so I'm getting both of those done in the next few weeks. So for the time being, I'll have to leave it there. Thanks for coming back to the channel, and please like and subscribe, share with your friends, and if you have any comments, please leave them below. Thanks.